Well, there you are, and here I am, your friend Vic, with you back once again for the final edition of the Karaoke Chronicles. And if you've noticed, since the last time I was before you, I got me a haircut. See, look at that. Nice and neat. You also notice there's some grays in my head. You know why? I'm not dyeing my hair. I'm not in a big hurry to dye my hair, unless someone calls for an Elvis show. But I don't think that's going to happen. So therefore, you're going to see some grays in my head now. That's okay. So, anyway, this is the last edition of the Karaoke Chronicles, and the reason it's the last edition is because my karaoke journey certainly hasn't ended. I'm still out there singing, but as you know, since this little series started, I talked about Massachusetts and Rhode Island, nursing homes and senior centers, and the clubs and bars up in Massachusetts. But now, the final edition of the Karaoke Chronicles brings us to where I live now, Central Florida, Kissimmee to be exact. But Kissimmee is not the only city I've sang in, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to the beginning of the story here. So when I moved to Florida almost 7.5 years ago now, took a job with the Walt Disney Company. For those who don't know, I am a custodian at Walt Disney World, Epcot to be precise. I started out in the Magic Kingdom, but transferred to Epcot in 2023 in October. And I've been there ever since, and I'm loving it, by the way, in case you didn't know. And over in the World Showcase section of Epcot. But for the first year and a half that I was here in Central Florida, I was concentrating on the job and getting established here, and I was not singing. And that was out of choice. I just didn't want to sing. I was burnt out on it because like I said before, you got to remember, in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, I was doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week, off on Sunday. And once in a while I would take a Sunday booking. So I was trying to start over, trying to start something different. And I was also a little frustrated with some things like not getting paid on time and things like that. So coming into Florida, I decided that I was done. Show business and me were no longer partners, so to speak. While I was working on Main Street USA in the Magic Kingdom custodial department, I met a guy named Jeff Allen, who, for the benefit of those of you who don't know, once appeared on America's Got Talent as his alter ego, the magician, the man of mystery. Check that out. It's on YouTube. But Jeff and I got to talking, and we were swapping stories about entertaining, and he said, well, are you doing that here? And at the time I said no. And I explained to him that I was actually done with it at that point, as he was as well. We were both just kind of in the same boat, and we were exchanging stories. But he really was interested in what I did, as far as like the Elvis tribute and the other shows that, if you watch the channel here, you know what I do. And he says, tell you what, Vic, I think people here in Central Florida would really like what you do. And if you're ever ready to do it again, I have a list of phone numbers for places you can call and get bookings. So I thanked him. I said, yeah, sure. Appreciate that. And went on my way, did my work, blah, blah, blah. Well, one fateful Halloween night, I went to Old Town here in Kissimmee on Route 192 for their Halloween party dressed as, ready for this, Elvis. And I got stopped by people and posed for pictures. Not just people here in Kissimmee, but people with English accents, people with other foreign accents who barely spoke English, but they could say Elvis and they could say photo, and I took photos with them. And that felt pretty good. It was like, maybe there's some magic left. Well, somebody I met, because they had some people with custom cars there that night as well, and somebody I met mentioned to me, hey, they have karaoke here on, at that time, Thursday night. Why don't you come check it out? I said, okay. So the following week, I went down and I sang 2 songs, and they're on my Facebook. I don't have them on YouTube. They're on my Facebook page. Mashed potatoes. There's Linda Belcher in the background because that's Lisa's ringtone on her phone. So anyhow, no, okay, just Linda Belcher singing the Thanksgiving song. And Thanksgiving's 2 weeks away, so hey, 13 days away actually. So there we have it. Anyhow, I sang "Burnin' Love" by Elvis, big shock, And I also sang another song near and dear to my heart, if you know me, Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss. So, because they're one of my favorite bands. And this friend, acquaintance more like it, that I met over at Old Town, filmed those two songs for me, and we put them up on my Facebook page. And some people have seen it, both videos, and said, "Hey, that's great. You should really go out and sing again." Because after telling people what I did, and Jeff especially, you should really go out and sing again. So I thought about it, and then once we had a car here, then I said, "Okay, I'm ready." I went to Jeff, and I didn't even have to explain it. I remember this clear as day. I went to him in the break room. I said, "Hey, Jeff." I said, "Hey, Vic, how you doing?" I said, "Jeff, I'm ready." He said, "Hold on." We were in the Main Street break room. I believe he went to his bag and handed me a piece of paper and he said, "These are the people you need to call." All right, so first place I called was the Terrace of Kissimmee, here in a nursing home that I still sing at to this day, every other month. Activities director Christine, she's awesome. And that led to, did a couple shows there and that went well, and then that led to another place in St. Cloud, which is now called Aspire in St. Cloud, but at the time was called Plantation Bay. So I went and sang a song there, and like 2 days later, Jeff messaged me and said, "Vic, I talked to the activities director of Plantation Bay. She said they loved you and they want you to come back." All right, that's great. So I got these two places that I'm singing, and I'm happy with that. But then a really cool opportunity arose where I found out that they were going to have a old-time car show, very similar to the one that they have at Old Town, in downtown Kissimmee, sponsored by a restaurant called Three Sisters Speakeasy. So I'm like, maybe we could put Elvis into this thing. So I contacted Kissimmee Main Street, because they were the ones that were actually in charge of the event. And Diana Marrero Pinto, who's in charge, that she's the head and the heart and soul of Kissimmee, if you ask me. And she's the head of Kissimmee Main Street. She said, "You know what? We've got something else coming up that I think you'd be a good fit for, called Boo on Broadway." So basically, every year, the Friday before Halloween, or on Halloween if it falls on a Friday, they close off the center of Kissimmee, and they have this big block party. Now, when I did the first one in 2019, there was one stage on Dakin Avenue, and there were some dance studios from Kissimmee, and there was me as Elvis. I did two 15-minute sets, so I'm like, cool, this is awesome. Well, it was really more than awesome, because that night put me on the map in Central Florida. Other places started calling, because they were like, "Who is this guy?" And they would ask me for cards. I had business cards, and I gave them cards. And I didn't really think anything was going to come of it, but I really have to thank Diana and everybody at Kissimmee Main Street, because, along with Jeff Allen, because these are the people that got the ball rolling for me here in Central Florida. But that one night, Boo on Broadway, and I've since returned to Boo on Broadway a few more times, including this year where I did Neil Diamond instead of Elvis. In the past, I did Draculus, my Halloween alter ego, the silly vampire, and another year, last year I did Disco. So, I've done other things, but Elvis, and this year I have to say Neil Diamond hit huge. Kissimmee Main Street and Diana, and initially my buddy Jeff Allen, I have to thank them for launching me here in Central Florida, because after that, in addition to the Terrace of Kissimmee and Plantation Bay, which is now part of the Aspire company, so now it's called Aspire of St. Cloud. Since then, I have played at Kissimmee Nursing and Rehab. I have played at Sonata of Hunters Creek, which is now called Providence Assisted Living of Hunters Creek. I've played at a place in Lake Nona, that name escapes me for the moment. I've played at Benton House of Narcoozy, which is now called the Addison in St. Cloud. I've played at Benton House of Claremont. I've played at the Tremont Assisted Living in Oviedo. I've played at Spring Hill of Hunters Creek Nursing and Rehab. I've played at the Terrace of St. Cloud, which is the sister home of the Terrace of Kissimmee. I played at the Club of St. Cloud, and it used to be called something else, which escapes me for the moment. So, I mean, Boo on Broadway launched me here in Central Florida. And when you think back to think that initially when I came here, I wasn't going to even do this anymore, it's amazing that Jeff Allen got the ball rolling. He was like level one. And then Diana Marrero Pinto in Kissimmee Main Street, got me to the stratosphere and got me all over Central Florida, performing at nursing homes and performing at assisted livings and performing at Boo on Broadway in downtown Kissimmee for their annual event, and making appearances at the Cowboy Crawl as Cowboy Sam, where I didn't sing, but I, was part of the festivities for that. This past February, I got to be Elvis posing for pictures in front of a classic 1956 Ford Fairlane, or maybe it was 57, but a Ford Fairlane, again, not singing, just being there and interacting with people and taking pictures and making people happy, And that's really, at the end of the day, that's what this has always been about. So I have to thank Jeff and Diana's staff, Ashley and Justin and Ruth and DJ Todd Green and Ahmed Salim, who I worked with in the past as Dracula and Elvis for Boo on Broadway. All these people have been such a help. And also Ashley bringing me in for the Kissimmee yard sale back in May, where I did Cowboy Sam, did a few songs, and it wasn't a huge turnout, but the people there enjoyed it. And I again passed out some cards, and it's amazing because I have to think back and remember that I said I wasn't going to do this, but in the beginning, it was out of necessity because I was making good money at Disney, but I was making like just enough to survive. So to have some recreation or just to have some pocket money, I needed to do something else. So I reached back to what I knew because I can't wrestle anymore. My health doesn't allow that. So I had to reach back and sing. And I'm still singing. And in 6 days, I'll be back at the Osceola County Council on Aging. Like I said before, I've done Council on Aging centers in Massachusetts, and the only other state I've ever done a COA is right here in Central Florida for the Osceola County Council on Aging, which serves both Kissimmee and St. Cloud. So it's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. Karaoke, when it first hit the United States in the early 1990s, everybody and people around me said, it's a fad. It'll be gone in 6 months. They said it to me. They said it to Carl Bach, who I've mentioned in a previous episode, who helped me get started in karaoke. They said it to Billy Disa, rest in peace, Billy. But we stuck with it. We believed. We knew that this was the ultimate interactive entertainment for people. Whether it's at a bar, at a club, at a place like Old Town, whether it's at a birthday party or a wedding or a bar mitzvah or a block party, karaoke is something that for 5 minutes or however long a song is, you can be a star. And you can do what I did, and you can cultivate it into a little side job, which actually at one time was my full-time living, up in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. But it's something that everyone can participate, and you don't have to be a great singer. You don't have to be, Elvis. You don't have to be Frank Sinatra. You don't have to be Lady Gaga. You don't have to be Beyonce. You just have to have fun. And that's what karaoke is all about. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching this series, the Karaoke Chronicles. It's been my pleasure bringing it to you. And like I said, in 6 days from when this is being filmed, I have a show at the Osceola County Council on Aging. The following week, I'm back at Aspire of St. Cloud. Next month at the Terrace at Kissimmee. I'm going back to all my places. I got new places. I got Merrill Gardens at Sol de Vida over in Poinciana. I've got Harbor View on John Young Parkway here in Kissimmee. And I've also got another place in January that escapes me for the moment. But when you get hit in the head many times as I have, that's why you write stuff down or you put stuff in the digital calendar, because otherwise you're going to forget everything. But thank you for watching this series. Keep watching the channel for more music clips, and I'll find some other subjects to talk about. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications like every other YouTuber says. But I'm Vic Solo, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, and y'all be good now. See you real soon.